I like to leave it all behind and go and find some place that's known to God alone.
It is the concert event rock and roll fans have dreamed of their entire lives.
Darling, you've got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
There's about 7 or so new songs that I want to take a look at.
I feel good.
Nice. Singing does a lot for your whole body.
You got a lot of life. That's what we have, a lot of life.
24 hours ago.
While Jack is sitting here, we have the possibility that he'll pass a kidney stone for us today.
Very warm, enthusiastic welcome to the young at heart.
Experience the film that brought audiences to their feet with spontaneous applause at the Los Angeles Film Festival.
This is the best performance I ever seen in my life.
Should I give it to gas?
They're the rebels, the wild ones, who showed the world they can.
Learn the whole song.
I know we can.
I think I can. That's hard.
From Fox Searchlight, the studio that brought you groundbreaking comedies like Sideways, The Full Monty, and Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh, yes, and
comes an event 80 years in the making. Young at heart.
I think I can. I think I can. If I want, I can. Think I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I know darn well I can. Yes, I can.
I'd like to start by giving you a brief history of the chorus. In 1982, our current director, Bob Silman, who was a recent graduate at University of Massachusetts after he was kicked out of University of Wisconsin sometime before that, for whatever reasons. But he was, I would say, somewhat of a rocker, a carefree spirit, and he didn't know which way he wanted to go, really. And so he ended up at UMass and was degreed. And it's rumored that he took his degree on a very wild night and threw it out the window after he took another stein of beer or whatever he was drinking and left it in the bushes. Well, then he realized that he needed a job and he wanted security with benefits. So he applied to the city of Northampton, and he was employed to work at the Salvo House and to make sure that he authenticated his resume. He was asked to produce his diploma. So he went and retrieved his diploma from the bushes. Of course, it was a bit soggy from the rain that had occurred and things like that. So that's our director, Bob Silman. At the Salvo House, which at that time provided meals for the elderly in the city of Northampton, Bob met a wonderful woman, Judith Sharp was her name. And she was quite a few years older than Bob, and played the piano beautifully. And between the two of them, they decided that let's get the gray heads, right? And our average age in the chorus is 81, 82. Let's get them to do something. So they said, how about music? How about creating a chorus? And Bob says, yes, but he says, I think we ought to do something unique. I think we ought to concentrate on rock and roll music. So can you imagine a lot of old people saying, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna sing somewhere by the waterfall down by, where are we gonna sing? He said, we're gonna sing. She was fast, but she kept the motor clean. She was the fastest woman I've ever seen, right? And they looked at each other, and he said, I think we've got it. And so rock and roll became the main music for the Young at Heart chorus. Not hard rock, but so-called soft rock. And the chorus began to form. And in the early stages, it was one come one all, as long as you were 60, 65 years old. And the chorus then combined with various groups in town, and they produced music at Look Park, local schools. And then Bob realized that he wanted to invite older people too, older than the young 65s. So he did, and currently the age requirement is 73. Must be 73 to be in the chorus. And so the chorus progressed doing local shows. And then Bob hooked up with a director by the name of Roy Faudree. And Roy and his wife, Sheena, they produce theater. And they are professional actors. And they travel around the world. And by that I mean they might be in London, they may be in Poland, they may be somewhere doing serious theater, and including Shakespeare. So Roy was invited to Rotterdam to lecture. He's quite good at that. He used to teach at Smith College theater and drama. And while he was there, he found out from a theater broker that the next year, the Netherlands, specifically Rotterdam, was going to produce a pageant for the entire month featuring octogenarian theater works. Okay, performers had to be older folks. And he said, "Do I have a choir for you?" So that's how the Young at Heart Chorus came to travel to Europe. And we were better known in Europe than we were here in the States. And as luck would have it, we did very well. And from that time to today, we've traveled to 12 different countries, from Australia to Norway. And I had the pleasure of representing the chorus at a film festival in Dubai, in the Middle East. So we have been around, so to speak. Now, in approximately 8 years ago, we were approached by several people to do a film. And the filmmakers that we selected were a couple who were from England. Their training specifically came from BBC. They learned filmmaking for the British National Network. And so they produced the film that you saw a little trailer of specifically for television. Now that's important to remember, because in doing a film for television, we didn't know until we found out later that to qualify for certain awards, you have to have a film made for the large screen. And that piece of work must be shown at a festival anywhere in the world before it can qualify for the Oscar as a documentary. I'm just throwing that in as a side. And that's why our film did not qualify as a documentary. Now, on the other hand, the film became very popular. And so there was a woman by the name of Nancy Utley, and she currently is the executive VP for Fox Searchlight, Fox Movie Theaters, and movie screen. And she gave orders to the William Morris theatrical agency to buy the film to adapt it to the big screen. And she did. And as a result, we then were shown on the big screen in theaters throughout the world. And guess where the hottest box office was? In Portugal. Although we have been shown in the Eastern Bloc countries and other countries, but Portugal was the one. So that brings us to here, to this room, and so we're open to questions. So fire away. Yes?
How young is the oldest member?
73.
No, the oldest member
the
is
oldest
90.
90 or 90?
Yeah.
90.
90.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say.
Don't ask me any more questions. I don't have any.
You gotta clean out your ears.
Now Dora, that you saw on a trailer, she has 15 children. And 13 of them graduated from college and universities. And she's quite remarkable. And she will be 92.
Yes, she will.
Next year.
But she doesn't come.
But she doesn't come to rehearsals, and we miss her. But it's a health issue, because we get old.
She has a son-in-law.
Don't be afraid of getting old, by the way.
She has a son-in-law that comes.
Yeah, son-in-law plays the drums.
And her other son-in-law sings.
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, Joseph. Yes?
Have you guys been recognized in these countries, the other countries that the film's already premiered in? Like, do people stop you?
A little louder.
Do people know who you are in these other countries? Do they stop you on the street?
Yes, it's not unusual to walk down the street. I happened to be in Norway, and I was walking with my roommate at that time, and these three cute little girls, Scandinavian girls, blonde hair, blue eyes, stood in front of me and talking away. I don't know what I'm to say. And then they giggled and they ran away. Yes, but it does happen on occasion. Not that they don't line up for autographs, but they do sometimes. But we are recognized. Yeah, we've had some. Yes.
Oh, finish your thought first.
We've had some very unusual things happen too. For example, in Norway, we sang before the King and Queen of Norway, and it was part of a festival where there were artists from all over the world for a specific pageant. And so when we came back to this country, Bob Silman, our director, who has a pretty good sense of humor, he got a couple that he knew to dress up like the King and Queen of Norway, and they put them in a box in a mezzanine in a theater that we were performing in, and the spotlight went on them, and they stood up, and she went. And then sat down, and everyone applauded who they thought was the King and Queen of Norway, because we had sung for the King and Queen of Norway, but they were not the King and Queen of Norway. Next.
Well, I have two questions, and they're kind of big questions. I'd love to hear each of you talk about what drew you to the chorus and how it has impacted your lives.
Fair enough. Shirley, fire away. What drew you to the chorus, and how do you enjoy life?
What was the first one?
They're a two-part question.
Yeah.
What drew you to the chorus?
What? That's what I don't get.
Drew you to the chorus.
What drew me?
Yeah.
Okay. I worked in Northampton when the chorus started, and I knew that they existed, but of course, I never wanted. I was working. When the movie came out, I went to see the movie, and I just loved it. I went with a friend. So I came home and I asked my husband, how about coming to see this movie, thinking he probably wouldn't go, but he did. He went, and he liked it a lot too. And he was a pretty good singer. That was not his kind of music. But I just said, so do you think you'd be interested in joining the chorus? Yeah, he says, I think I would. I thought he was going to say no. So he called Bob and left a message on his voicemail. And when Bob called back, I answered the phone. And I told him that, And he says, well, there's one problem. You've got to be 73. And I said, oh, I'm 73 and a half. So he told us just come to a rehearsal. And the day that my husband went, I couldn't go because I think I was working then, too. I haven't stopped working yet. But he went and sang a song. That's all you have to do to audition, sing a song, and that's it. And I think I went the next week. But there's one story I'd kind of like to tell you about. In the movie, and it did show a little clip here, there was the scene at the jail, and you saw some of the inmates sitting on the lawn. Well, 2 years ago, we were in Albany for a concert, and during the day, they had a street festival going on. So I said to some of them, let's go down and see what's going on at the street festival. And I was with Jimmy, a clarinet player, and a couple of other people. We were walking around, and Jimmy says, there's John. And I said, who's John? He says, the guy that was in jail that's in the movie. And I said, oh my gosh. So we went over to him, hugged him. He was out of jail, and he told us that that movie changed his life. The fact that the chorus went to the jail and sang changed his life. And when he got out, he went back to college. He became a landscaper. His daughter is in college. So it was just so great. We were all crying. He had no idea that the chorus was going to be there to perform, and it was sold out. But Jimmy, the clarinet player, went back to the hotel and got Bob to come down to see if he could get him a couple of tickets, and he did, and we dedicated the concert to him. It was just great to see this happen to him. And now we are doing some work at the prisons, and I'm hoping that maybe we'll change somebody else's life. But it's definitely been great for me. It's just an unbelievable experience.
So tell them a little bit about your background.
Oh, you really want to hear that? I was a banker. Is that kind of background?
Yeah. You've said that now 4 times.
Well, what else do I have to tell?
Well, you like bicycle riding.
Oh, yeah, I like to ride a bike.
You have a dog.
I do. I have a dog.
Why don't you tell her story?
I'll tell you about it, Shirley.
I'm a troublemaker.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's just been a great, great experience. Bob is an incredible director, and we just have we rehearse twice a week, and I wouldn't think of possibly missing a rehearsal. It's that important to me to be there. Everything is it's just great. What else can I say?
Anything you want. How about yourself, Byron? What drew you to the chorus?
I'm from Wendell, Massachusetts, otherwise known as that other place, especially to my chorus members. I also volunteer at our local library, and I happened to see a DVD of the Young at Heart film come through my desk. I said, let me take this home and check it out. And I took a look at it, and I said, this sounds very interesting. I'd like to join something like this. I did sing in Boston for 30 years with Black Nativity, which is probably the oldest play in America of its type. But the long drive back and forth in the winter just wore me down. So I thought I'd find something else. So I wrote a letter to Young at Heart asking about them and how I could apply. I didn't hear from them for 6 months. So I sent them another letter, and they sent me an email and told me where to go, which was down in Florence. So I walk in, introduce myself, and sit down, and they start singing. At the break, I went over to the director, Bob Silman, and said, could I get some music? And he said something to me which I'll never forget. Don't worry about the music, and you're up next. What? I thought I was going to wet my pants. I had no idea what to sing, and thoughts are running through my head, and I'm very upset and nervous. And he introduces me, and he says, do you want some music? And I said, no, I'll try to do this. I said to the group gathered there, I'm going to try to sing a song of my homeland. And if you know it, join in. And they looked at each other, not knowing what to expect. And I sang Danny Boy. That just blew their minds, and I could see them. What is he doing singing Danny Boy? So that's how I became a member of the chorus. It has become, this is I'm what they call a newbie, because I've only been in it about 3 years or so. And it is a family, but a dysfunctional family, like all our families are. But I'm having the time of my life, and I enjoy it very much.
Brian, tell me a little bit about your background. I found it very interesting, that, especially since you went out of the meat business.
Without going into the meat business, I worked for Raytheon Company in Lexington, and I started out as a mechanical assembler on the Hawk missile system, and went through various areas of production control until I became a manufacturing foreman of the Apollo spacecraft, computers, and Polaris and Poseidon missile systems. After that program ended, I became a manager of affirmative action programs for the company and represented the company in all types of lawsuits for discrimination, handicapped women. And I also do cake decorating, quilt making. I am a constable in Wendell. I did belong to the board of directors of the Greenfield YMCA, and now I'm on the board of directors of the Young at Heart, and that's all. Yes.
Can we hear a little?
We missed it.
They want to hear little Danny Boy.
Yeah, give him Danny Boy.
Well, you're the one who's going to sing. I wasn't going to sing.
No, we'll sing it together. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers dying. 'Tis you must go while I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, and when the valley's hushed and white with snow. Yes, I'll be there in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny Boy, I love you so.
He's never sang that with the chorus.
No,
We've never sang that.
Only as my introductory piece.
Just as your audition.
Yeah, right.
He hasn't sung it since.
No. Not after I saw people bringing tomatoes in and stuff like that to toss at me.
About 15 years ago, no, it's 16 years ago now, my very dear friend, Mary Lou Green, happened to be in a supermarket on King Street in Northampton. And she ran into a former co-worker of hers from Cooley Dickinson Hospital Paulette Goddard. And it was like, what are you doing, blah, 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 blah. And Paulette says, I'm now singing, now that I'm retired from Cooley Dick, I'm singing with the Young at Heart Chorus. So Mary Lou was familiar with the Young at Heart Chorus, and she said, oh, and how are they coming along? She said, quite well, except we do need a few male singers right now. We're a little light on male singers. So she said, well, I know someone who might like to take a shot at it. And so Paulette gave her Bob Silman's name and phone number because she happened to babysit his children at that time. And so she gave me his phone number, and I called and said what I was doing. It happened to be summertime, and I wouldn't be available until later. So he said, well, come by. And at that time, we were rehearsing on the fourth floor of Thorns. Third floor. And so I came in, and they told me to take a seat. And like intermission, like Byron said, you know, you're going to sing now. Bob said, we want you to do a number. So I did a number. And Bob said, by the way, we don't do Broadway, so take a seat. And I said, well, I do know how to sing a little Italian, too. And he said, we don't do Italian either. So I'm approaching my 15th year with the chorus, and I love the chorus, and I see the chorus as more than entertainment. You know, we're here because we want to represent you. Other countries seem to have a greater empathy and understanding of aging than we do in this country. And it's remarkable how in other lands the elderly are revered. For example, when we were in Japan on one of our tours, and we've been there twice, and I hope we go back, people queued up for over an hour until they were told they could not talk to us anymore. And these are elderly people who were standing in line just to shake our hands, to thank us for coming. And here, you know, if you're not Taylor Swift or you're not Beyonce, you know, or you're not that idiot Bieber, Boober, you know, running around on drugs and booze and, you know, and throwing eggs at his neighbor's house like some idiot, you know. They think, but if you close your eyes, music is the international language. You don't look at age. You look at the performance. And at one time, we used to have a motto on our calling cards, and it was expect the unexpected. And it's true, because as we went into various audiences, different ages, for example, if we did a concert before middle school, okay, they would come in and say, oh, these old people, you know. So some smooth cat would come in, you know, and he'd fix his hair, and he'd have a chick over here and a chick over there, you know. Sit down in this chair, you know. You know, and pretty soon we're up there shucking, and pretty soon he's going, whoa, all right, yeah. Hey, man, these guys are cool. Yeah, all right, you know. So that leads me into now we're doing intergenerational things. So we have 3 venues. We do concerts, straight concerts, which we love to do because it's quick and it's a lot of fun. We also do the theater where there's some costuming and a kind of a theme involved, you know. And then we also are beginning to hook up with kids. For example, in Chicago during Lyndon Johnson's presidency, there was a group formed to work with children of middle school age. Now they have 3,800 kids in the program. Isn't that wonderful? And the woman who heads up the program is originally from Amherst. And So she knew what we did, and she got a hold of Bob, our director, and asked if sometime we might do a concert. And I'm happy to say that last April at Stevens, Smith College, sorry, in Stevens Auditorium, we did a concert with 40 of these kids who came from Chicago and sang with us on stage, including the SciTech band, which is a high school band, fantastic band. How did we hook up with them? Well, several years ago, we were both given a hunk of glass. You know, it's glass etched. You know, you're smooth, you're cool, you know, kind of stuff. Well, the band and we were co-recipients, and we were at the log cabin where they had a fantastic dinner for us. And so the director, Bernice is his name, he's a Pied Piper. He's about as big as a pencil. And he's, I would say, in his late 30s? Yeah. Late 30s. Let me tell you what he did over at the SciTech school. He went to a school, and you know what it's like with children don't have both parents in the house. Kids have a tough time getting by. Kids have a tough time getting a meal. Well, he started a band. Now, that school has approximately 1,300 students. How many students you think are in his band? How many students you think are in his band? 85? Anyone else? Who said that? How do you know? You read the article. 500, you're right. 500 kids. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Calm down.
Now, isn't that wonderful? And guess how many of them graduate? Now, wait, before that, you know what graduation rates are? 57%, 67%, 70 if you're lucky. What do you think the graduation rate is for a band member at the SciTech High School? Anybody? Huh? No, not quite. 95. Isn't that wonderful? So we hooked up with them. And hopefully we'll do more concerts, which would be an intergenerational thing. And when they're on the stage with us, they don't say, "Move over, old man." They say, "Man, we love you. We love you guys." And they hug us, and they give us a hug and a kiss and say, "We can't wait to sing with you again." So that's the message that we want the Young at Heart Chorus to give in this country. And hopefully we'll be able to do so, because there are rumors that we've hooked up with a former Columbia Motion Picture spinoff, and there were Columbia Pictures, and then you had Columbia Records. That was another division, and now there's a Columbia Arts Management Group out of New York City, and they've been after us for many years to try to hook up with them. So we did very well in booking ourselves, but now we're going to try maybe a 2-year stint with them to bring the chorus into some of the major cities of the United States. Yes?
Is Dick Dragon still with your group?
No.
Dick Dragon, unfortunately, is not with our group. We love him. He does show up at a rehearsal now and then, but he has medical issues. It's a medication thing that hasn't been able. He is active. He still works over at Bon Tom with the woman who inherited that property, you know, when her husband died. So he still is on her staff there, and he's active. He reads. He looks good, but no.
East Hampton. He moved to
East Hampton. Yeah. Yes.
In contemplating my 73rd birthday and possibly joining.
You come on in.
But you know what? I heard that through the grapevine that we're bumping the age up to 75.
Oh, okay. So just 2 more years after 73. So I'm curious, does one have to be wealthy to be in?
Oh.
Wealthy? Wealthy?
Wait a minute. You want some food stamps? You want some Depends? Wait, I get those too. Wait. What else you want? No, we're butcher, baker, candlestick makers. What happens is we are not paid. We're amateurs. Bob Silman receives a salary. The band is paid. They're all professionals. They don't have music sheets in front of them. Bob Sillman will go up to the band and he'll say, I want a pa-pa, 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 and the band goes pa-pa, 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 without even looking at music. And they are paid. Okay. Yeah. Our sound mixer is paid. Our sound mixer makes Byron sound like Enrico Caruso. And Shirley sounds like Beyonce. Okay, and I sound like that, you know. And then we also have caretakers who come with us, and they are paid a stipend. It costs a lot of money to send 35 of us. We have about 24 singers, 5 band members. We have a support group, plus our director and our technicians. Now that costs about $350,000, $400,000. So the people who invite us over either have to make that kind of money by selling tickets, or their governments have budgets. In this country, we don't have budgets like that because we don't recognize the arts as much as some of the other countries. I'm not knocking this. I love this country. I had a chance for citizenship in Australia, and I turned it down a long time ago because I kissed the ground in this country. I love this country, but I'm just telling you what the arts are up against in this country, okay? So that gives you an idea. Yes?
Do you do any Michael Jackson?
Did we what?
Do we do any Michael Jackson? I believe
Yes,
we have.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We definitely have.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
John Reinhardt.
John Reinhardt does, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was an alto in the church choir when I was in high school. That's about it. I never really. I played the piano, but I mean, I would not have called myself a singer, but now I will. Right?
Well, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Well, he has me doing solos.
She's a wonderful singer. She really is.
I had to change my Depends.
But you don't really have to have, none of us are really trained singers.
Right, exactly.
And we do, although we don't sing anything in Italian, we try to sing some of the songs in the country in which we are playing. For example, my roommate over there on the other end does sing in Japanese.
Well, we all did. When we went to Japan, we all sang in Japanese.
Chibi wa funky monkey baby,
Well, you gotta tell 'em the
ojakateru yo, tako de koishi, ore no kano yo, chimi wa funky monkey baby. That was in Japan.
He'll take the whole program up.
Now, we have in our repertoire about 150 songs, parts of them. And I went back because I wanted to, I'm going to leave a film with Judy for your library so you can take it out and look at it, and also a brochure that gives you some of our background that you may want to take out of the library here if you'd make it available for them, Judy. And we have, I said we've been in 12 countries. Some of the people stuff we do is Queens, Ramones, Beatles, Radiohead, White Rabbit, Grizzly Bear, Lou Reed, The Zombies, Jefferson Plain. I mean, I could go on some of the stuff we do. And it's getting back to this elderly thing. I mentioned Taylor Swift. You know, Shirley's our Taylor Swift. But I was reading a magazine recently, and this is a quote from a young person in the entertainment business, and I hope that this will help other people think about elderly people in this country. I just struggle to find women in music who have not been completely picked apart by the media for fighting aging. The media seems to pick us apart when we're old. They start measuring us for a care facility, for a nursing home, for, you know, How many times do we get those pamphlets in the mail for hearing aids and chairs and this and that and everything else? She says, seems to be more difficult to be a woman in music and to grow older. That's from Taylor Swift. Now here's a woman who's 24, she's going to be 25. She's a leading artist for record sales. She was 13 in Memphis, Tennessee, when she was writing her own music and being recognized as somewhat of a genius, in terms of pop music. So there's hope. There's hope for us kids, so.
Well, yeah, and how you were when you were 15 and you were going to be turning 16, how excited you would be? Well, that's how I feel now, because I'm going to be turning 80 in January, and I'm real excited about that.
We are too.
Yeah?
Now, okay. Now, I want all of you in this, I want, she won't be able to blow out the candles. Now, I want all of you to reflect and go back to the 3rd grade, okay? 3rd grade arithmetic. Are you with me? Okay. 3rd grade arithmetic. In 1 month and 1 year, 1 month and, 1 month and 14 years, I will be 100.
What? 14 years?
Yeah, I'll be 100.
So you're counting the days?
No, just a month.
Oh.
1 month and 14 years. Any other questions? Yes.
Did you mention your history with music and singing? I missed it.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Could you share with that with us? What's your background?
Our background, yeah. I'm a Detroit boy. My father was an immigrant from now Slovakia. And I went to the 1st grade. I couldn't speak English. I still have trouble with it. And I went to a trade school, night school for a high school diploma. Went to college, have a degree at Bradley University, Industrial Engineering, Marine Corps. Married 35 years, 3 wonderful children. Buried my wife 25 years ago, and then I met Mary Lou. Our kids fixed us up on a blind date. Isn't that great? Her daughter and my daughter, and I had 20 wonderful years. I've had 2 wonderful women in my life. You girls are all right, I'll tell you that. You know how to take care of us guys. And so then out of the Marine Corps, I worked for a large corporation, Standard Oil New York, now called ExxonMobil. And after 17 years, I decided I wanted stability for my family because they moved me internationally and around the States. So I bought a little company and settled in your wonderful Western Massachusetts and nurtured my family. And now I'm happy to say I have 4 wonderful grandchildren. And I'm very happy to be retired when I was 55 and having the time of my life. I'm a bum. Now I'm a bum.
What kind of musical experience did you have before?
I did a lot of choral work, and I did a lot of singing and some theatrical, musical comedy, My desert is waiting, come see it with me. I'm only spoofing. You don't want me to sing too loud, I'll blow your guys out. Che bella cosa, una giornata al sole, un'aria serena dopo una tempesta, per l'aria fresca, pareggiana festa, che bella cosa, una giornata al sole, ma tu sole, più bello ne. O sole mio, stan fronte a te, o sole mio, stan fronte a te, stan fronte a te. Yeah, that's Polish. Shirley said Polish. So that's me. Yes.
So we've heard two of us sing. Can we respond and ask the three of you to sing something together?
I know a dirty song.
She knows a dirty song.
No.
And she does, too.
Well, you know, it's fun.
I don't know what we can sing together. Oh, this should be really something.
How am I going to do that? We've been through some things together, with trunks of memories still to come. We found things to do in stormy weather. Long may you run. Long may you run. Long may you run. Although these changes have come. With your chrome hat shining in the sun. Long may you run. That's enough, right?
Very good.
You are a singer. Thank you.
I am?
She is.
She really is.
She clowns around that way, though, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We rehearse about 38, 36, 30, well, 36, sometimes a couple don't show, but about, what, 6 of them or so would be the backups now.
Yes.
Yeah, waiting. And as I said before, we normally will put on stage when we do travel about 24. Yeah. Although when we sing locally, we'll put on stage about 28.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, about 28. Yes.
How many, I know you said you had rehearsed 2 days a week?
Yes.
And is that in Northampton?
Florence.
In Florence.
People that come by just to watch you rehearse?
Yes.
Yes, you're welcome. We rehearse Monday and Thursday from 10 a.m. till noon at the Florence Community Center, the yellow building. It's right next to the Florence Library, and all of you are welcome.
Yep,
Not all at once, I hope.
People pop in all the time.
By all means, do come. Yeah, we definitely. And we enjoy having you drop in.
And
yeah.
the rehearsals are pretty interesting to observe.
Yeah.
You really see.
What other day?
Thursday. Thursday, yeah. Yes. Well, that's what I was alluding to before, that music is good for elderly people. It really is. It doesn't matter whether you have a voice or not, but do try, because music is important. Now, I see the boss is standing up, so what I'm going to do is, before we leave, and I want you to join me, all of you. And these are a couple of the songs that I was brought up with. With someone like you, a pal so good and true, I like to leave it all behind and go and find some place that's known to God alone, just a spot to call my own. We'll find a perfect peace where joys will never cease, out there beneath the kindly skies. We'll build a sweet little nest somewhere out in the west, and let the rest of the world go by. Thank you. Thank you. Don't be afraid of growing old. Have fun.